Good morning, everyone. I am freezing sitting out here. Let me get a little cup of coffee. Oh, mm. I'm going to tell you something. Winter's coming. Are you prepared? Well, yesterday I spent the whole day cooking for my dogs and my chickens, and my house stank. All the meat cooking. When it came time for me to eat dinner, my husband's like, "Aren't you going to eat?" And I'm like, "No." I'm really not. I did eat a few things, but I could not, after cooking all day. I just couldn't. But I did accomplish salmon cooked for them, beef liver cooked for them, pork chops cooked for them, 2 beef roasts cooked for them, chicken feet, which actually I took them and gave them to the chickens and they loved it, and the neighbor cat. But the broth was so rich that I cooked all of the other meats except for the salmon and the pork chops. I put them in the oven, but I also cooked noodles and I also cooked sweet potatoes in that thick broth from the chicken feet. I mean, it was thick. So if I ever have an opportunity to have chicken feet like that again, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make some of the most tremendous broth that you've ever had. So yes, Asian people know. See, this is the part where people are so spoiled to pieces of meat. This is kind of like the soul food thing. Where did soul food derive from? It derived from African Americans eating the scraps of their masters. And that's where it came from. And of course, in Asia, in several different countries of Asia, people are starving. They're going to eat what they eat. And chicken feet are also, I think it's a good luck thing on on their New Year's, Chinese New Year, to have chicken feet or something with chicken feet. Yes, it sounds disgusting. Yes, they look and feel horrible when they're cooked. And when you pick them up and the little claws come out or their toenails come out, it's really freaky, creepy. And I did stick one of the nails in my finger here, and it is so sore. I got hurt cooking chicken feet. But anyway, so cooking for the dogs today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cook a whole turkey. One of the turkeys that I got for 49 cents a pound, I put one in the freezer, one in the fridge, and the one in the fridge I'm going to cook out and divide that up as well. While the turkey is cooking, I am going to rearrange my freezer again so that I can package up more meat that I have that needs to go to the freezer. I'm always looking for that beef right now. So I've got 2 beef roasts and they're both going to go to the freezer, and I am going to do my best to protect them from frostbite, freezer burn, whatever it is. Okay. So that's what I'm doing right now in order to prepare. I also have some buckets to fill. I have 2 buckets to fill. I've got tons of bucket stuff to put in there, and some potatoes. I mean, just tons of stuff to get bucketed and get to where they need to go. Okay. As you know, last week was the 7th of November. That was my birthday. Yay. It was also election day. And I want to talk about some things. Okay? There was a reason why I kept talking about legislation versus party lines. Because parties have agendas. Okay? The agenda that the party that you affiliate with may not agree with your needs. Okay? So this is why it is so important to look at legislation versus party lines. Now, Ohio definitely let that be known with the abortion and the marijuana legalization, and Governor DeWine is already whining and trying to change it. How do you rightfully change something that the residents of Ohio voted for and let you know? They don't care. It wasn't part of their agenda. This is why legislation is so important. Republicans decided on the legislation, not the party line when it came to the abortion issue. I'm just telling you, they finally realized that if you had a 10-year-old girl who was raped, that it wasn't right for her to have to carry a baby. How can you say that it's okay for a 10-year-old to carry a baby? I have a problem with that. I would never, ever think in a million years that people would want that to happen to someone. And I think what happened is a lot of Republicans decided that's not good. What if it was my granddaughter or my daughter or my niece or my neighbor? Their 10-year-old child having to carry a baby. I think that's where it was, because this is where it's more important to think about legislation than a party obligation or whatever you want to call it, an agenda. I think it is an agenda. Okay, Kentucky showed that as well, because Beshears is still the governor. Beshears has done a lot for Kentucky, and no matter what party affiliation you are, you can't deny that. The man he was running against made some major, major faux pas as far as the abortion issue. And a couple more issues. He didn't meet what the people wanted. Virginia, boy, that flipped around on him big time. I think that was a total blindside. But here's why I constantly say it's not about your political affiliation or your party's agenda. It's about what you need in legislation. I have decided that I am going to work on legislation in Indiana. I have decided that I'm going to step forward. I'm going to put my hat in the ring to kind of investigate how I do this. I don't know how, so I'm going to really look into it. Right now, I think it's very important for Indiana to come up to date. Indiana is so backwards. It has been backwards forever. It's a right to fire state. It has horrible employee rights. Indiana is horrible. I'm just saying that. It's true. We need to turn around legislation in Indiana. I'm not worried about marijuana. I could care less about that. That's not what I care about. What I care about are the people. And the fact that corporations and companies are held in such high esteem in Indiana due to a political agenda that legislation is not for the people or even the working class people. When I went through my situation, I realized that legislation had nothing to do with me. I was just a number. What the legislation had to do with was the company I worked for. That's got to change because people work. People need to work. And if people get injured or get fired or terminated for no reason other than, well, we can do it. We can do whatever we want to. The law says we can. Then there's an issue. Because now I don't have a job. I don't have a way to turn around anything. The only thing I can do is move forward to work on legislation for Indiana. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look into it, see what I have to do. I'm going to go to all the council meetings that I can. I do have this major fear of driving in winter weather, so I probably won't make all of the board meetings, but I'm going to start here in my little town, which isn't the exact county I work in or live in, but it's close enough for me to start going to these town meetings and maybe make some connections. So that's my goal, is to get into the legislation of Indiana. Let me tell you something. If there was ever, people trying to backlash me, oh, they're going to find a lot of skeletons in my closet. I am not, rosy clean by any means, but I am for the people, and I do want to work with legislation somehow. I don't know what to do yet, but I'm letting you know that when you vote legislation. Don't vote a party agenda, because that agenda might be the wrong agenda for you. You'll have a great day. Hugs from a distance. I'm going to show you some of the stuff I do today, but I really wanted to get out of the house and talk and freeze. Bye, y'all. Hugs from a distance.